Today we continue with Hulk Rebirth 2. Bruce wakes up in his familiar bed. Glancing around, he notices Hulk's reflection in the mirror across the room. Clearly it's time for a conversation. "Good morning, Hulk, and thanks to Joe for holding the room for me," Bruce says, his voice calm. "Bah," Hulk gives a dismissive wave, unconcerned. Joe knows all about it. Hulk is Hulk, after all. Ignoring Banner's thanks, Hulk quickly says, his voice low and resolute, "Hulk has a problem. Banner has to help Hulk." Bruce sighs, gets up and walks over to the table to make a cup of coffee. In the mirror, Hulk's reflection is still sitting motionless on the bed, huge, green, and patiently waiting for an answer. "So what's the problem, Hulk?" Bruce asked, his voice wary but focused. Hulk stood up, bowing his head so that his face was reflected clearly through the door. "Gamma from the stars, from the distant stars," he said, his voice deep and meaningful. In the mirror, Hulk's massive body shifted slightly, his arm pointing toward the sky, but his enormous size made it impossible to fit his image in the small frame. "Bruce will go," Hulk added, his voice determined. Bruce, who had just finished preparing the coffee maker, turned to face Hulk. His tone was calm, but somewhat stern. "Yes, I know. Gamma is interstellar, or at least a form of it. But that's no reason to leave, Hulk. We have a life here, right now. Heroes are respected, and while we're not exactly like them, leaving now would make people think we're still hiding from our guilt for Earth. Do you understand what I mean?" The building seemed to shake, or maybe that was just how Bruce felt. Hulk's fist slammed into the mirror from the other side, creating a long, sharp crack. Hulk pointed straight at Bruce, his green eyes blazing, filled with rage. "Hulk is not guilty. Bruce is not guilty. The bad guys are guilty. The smart guys who sent Hulk into space. The smart guys who killed Hulk's wife, Hulk's child." Bruce felt a flash of green light in his eyes. His heart pounded so hard it felt like it was going to burst, the sound echoing in his ears. His child, his wife, Hulk's child, Hulk's wife. Theirs, memories and emotions rushed in, blurring his vision. The adrenaline washed over Bruce's consciousness, leaving a hazy void in his mind. Hulk stumbled, his steps heavy as his legs were bound in chains that would not break, no matter how hard he tried. The journey through the hole in the sky seemed to have weakened him. Even lifting his ship, an act that had been a mere game before, was now a huge challenge, so difficult that his little pinky finger felt like a burden. His mind was in turmoil. His thoughts were slower than usual. The dull ache in his chest was getting worse, far beyond the pain from the lingering burn that he usually only paid attention to. Now, a new burn was present on his chest, aching and uncomfortable. It felt like being stabbed by an invisible weapon, even though no one was around. All it was a small disc, embedded deep into his thick skin, causing pain that he could not explain. Somehow, the Hulk's self-healing ability could not remove the cursed disc. He tried everything, even gouging himself into his chest to try to remove it. But if even a circuit from the device was cut, it would react, plunging him into a pain he had never experienced. It was not just physical torture, but it seemed to pierce his mind, making all thoughts go fuzzy. Not even Goldilocks lightning, Thor's, and ever caused such pain to the Hulk. Yes. "Behold the biggest, most powerful slave we have sold in years." The cries rang out joyful and loud, trying to drown out the chaos of the market. "It will take a large amount of tranquilizers to take him down, along with a submissive disc. Invest in him, and you will surely earn your money back in the Red King's great arena. You may even win the king's favor," the Hulk growled, his muscles tensing as he struggled to break free of the chains that bound him. The chains were connected to a device above him, accompanied by a large weight that seemed to increase the pressure as he resisted. The metal did not budge, forcing him to pause his efforts, waiting helplessly for someone to buy him. When a royal citizen approached, the Hulk suddenly lunged forward, ferociously biting the man's head off. In an instant, he crushed the skull in his massive teeth, chewing a few times before spitting the bone through the head of the slave driver who had brought him here, along with several other victims standing nearby. But before Hulk could do anything more, the submission disc activated. A sharp pain erupted, and before he knew it, the world around him was dark. "Those hands look strong. Those hands next to you, Kik Miik, and you will live." Hulk's eyes adjusted to the darkness. They were in a metal box that smelled of rust, shit, and piss, and fear. Lots of fear. One end of the box opened to let in a bright light. The bug was talking again. "Is Two Hands listening? We fight now!" The Hulk stepped into the light, shielding his eyes from the light. A crowd roared around him, and a voice began. "And now, citizens and oligarchs, we begin the festivities with some carnage." The ground shook beneath his feet, and the Hulk was ready to move. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon and turn on notifications to see the earliest videos. Thank you. The ground shook and compressed under the Hulk's strength, cracking as he brought his full weight down on the planet, advancing towards the small creatures who called him Smooth Skin. The pressure from him caused the soil beneath the little bug to swell, cracking as a pink substance rose from the ground. From underground, giant tentacles suddenly burst forth, attacking with incredible speed and force. They shot straight up from beneath each slave's feet, tearing the ground apart. A few unlucky pinks were impaled as the tentacles rose, blood and screams filling the air. The Sicarians, with their tough, chitinous shells, were able to withstand a direct hit, but the relentless tentacles sent them flying, hurling them into the sky and slamming into the surrounding walls. Chaos erupted, and the Hulk continued to advance, relentless. The Hulk rolled to his feet, pulling the small insectoid man out of harm's way. The creature's voice rang out through the chaos, seemingly a word of thanks. But Hulk didn't care. Bah! His eyes focused on the center of the giant creature that was causing the disaster. The roar of the crowd faded. The announcer's voice became a distant, meaningless noise. Massive tentacles exploded from a central point, spreading out across the arena. Hulk didn't hesitate. He launched himself into the air, fist drawn back, ready to strike. But a tentacle suddenly lashed out, knocking him off course. His massive body slammed into the arena wall, cracking it and peeling off large chunks. As he hit the ground, another tentacle slammed down on him. Hulk immediately grabbed the next one as it hurtled toward his chest. The giant creature roared, breaking the earthen crust above it, revealing its full, grotesque form. A series of tentacles, sharp and vicious, converged on Hulk, ready to impale him. In that moment, as the spikes came crashing down, time seemed to slow down. The Hulk yanked the giant creature toward him, gripping the tentacles and using all his incredible strength. With his arms coiled in muscle, he threw them back, then swung forward, slamming his palms together with a tremendous force, creating a sound like a thunderclap. The tremendous force sent the creature flying across the arena, crashing into the wall, taking other smaller creatures with it. Without stopping, the Hulk leaped toward the stunned creature, swatting aside its tentacles with a decisive backhand before delivering a powerful right punch to its body. The terrifying force tore through the body of his foe, and the Hulk roared in victory, his eyes scanning the arena, searching for more challengers. But only one responded. The Red King, standing majestically from his throne, slowly clapped his hands. The applause was not in admiration, but in the amusement the Hulk had just brought him. "Tell me, Vizier," the Red King's voice rang out, "who owns that creature?" "You do, my lord, if you wish." "I believe I do." The Red King's smile was cunning. He had planned for the green creature to kill a Cavaranthus Mazarus so easily. His thoughts of using such a creature were interrupted when he saw a flash of green light from his left. Turning, the beast leaped towards him, seemingly intent on harming him. Joyfully, the obedience disc on its chest lit up, and its muscles contracted. The creature slammed into the wall directly below the Red King's observation box, falling to the ground. Enough. If he wants a fight, he can have one. I will show him why I am the king of this planet. The Red King rose from his throne, placing a power-armored hand on the railing and lifting his body, falling several meters to the arena floor. Dust rose in a ring around him as he collided, his body heavy within the armored frame. He raised his sword towards the creature as it rose. "Pick up your beast weapon. You want a fight? You will have a fight." With a roar, the Hulk lunged forward, picked up a sword, and swung it at the king's head. But in a seemingly effortless motion, the king raised his blade, blocking the Hulk's fierce slash. The clang of metal on metal was deafening as the king's superior sword sliced a portion of the Hulk's blade, demonstrating his clear superiority. Before the Hulk could react, the king struck. His blade moved like lightning, slicing through and slicing a gash across the Hulk's nose. The Hulk didn't even get a glimpse of the king's right arm before the blow from his left sent him flying halfway across the arena. "You are a mere creature, worth nothing more than fertilizer for my fields. You chose to fight this beast, and you know it." The king spoke not with anger, nor with malice. His tone was calm and appraising, as if he were considering the Hulk no more than a farmer might consider the value of cattle. "You were a prince," he told her, "like the beasts that ram my cattle." Every word he spoke was cold and objective, simply stating the facts as he saw them. His sword came down as quickly as it could go. The blade bit into the arena floor as the Hulk's blade sliced the king's throat. A shallow cut, no more than a millimeter deep, enough to draw blood, but not enough to do any harm. The king barely had time to move. His eyes widened in fear. They widened even more as he looked at the beast. The Hulk had slashed the king. The crowd fell silent. The other slaves fell silent. The Hulk was smiling. The Hulk lunged forward, ready to strike again, when the disc on his chest lit up again, sending him to his knees. His nose was almost reformed, but the regeneration slowed to a near halt as his attempt to disobey the disc sapped all the energy inside him. He fell to the ground, his vision fading. Thanks for the McAllen lift. I really didn't want to walk all the way here from Santa Fe. Bruce stepped off the teleportation platform and headed toward the common room. No problem. But why don't you want me to teleport you out there? You know it won't be any trouble. Bruce loved and hated this about Rachel. She was always trying to prove that she was useful to the team. As the only non-gamma mutant on the crew, she often appeared extremely insecure. Bruce tried to explain to her how important her skills were. The crew couldn't be nearly as effective as they were if she wasn't around to transport them to their location. No problem, Rachel. I've got work to do out there, and Hulk needs to stretch his legs. He'd rather jump than teleport, you know. Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, the rest of the crew is in the mess hall or training right now. Thanks. Oh, and Hulk said there's a gamma signature of some importance in the direction of the Pillar of Creation. Can you look for anything that doesn't look great in that direction? It was just one of Hulk's hunches. I wasn't sure if it would turn into anything, but he was pretty adamant about it. Just let me know what you find when you find something. Or nothing. He turned to leave after she gave an affirmation. Stay tuned. There will be a sequel. Thank you. What do you think about this fight? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you all very much.